Hi, my name is Juan Castro. I'm an editor for IGN's PlayStation team, and we're going to be doing a video review of The Da Vinci Code. The Da Vinci Code is based off a best-selling novel by Dan Brown. It is now a really big movie. Basically, the story revolves around a symbologist by the name of Robert Langdon, who's played by Tom Hanks in the movie. He's basically called to the Louvre Museum one night where a curator in the museum has been murdered. The curator actually leaves behind a trail of symbols and clues that he hopes people will find in his murder scene, and that pretty much sends Langdon and a cryptologist by the name of Sophie on a quest, so to speak, to solve a 2,000-year-old secret about Jesus Christ and his place in organized religion. They pretty much spend the book traveling to different locales, Paris, all different places in Europe, looking at secrets that have been hidden inside of the work of Leonardo da Vinci, and that's basically what you end up doing in the game as well. The Da Vinci Code as a video game is a third-person action-adventure murder mystery, which leans heavily towards the puzzle side. You still control the main character like you would in any third-person action game, but you spend most of your time reading, looking at paintings, and solving puzzles. So in terms of the puzzle system in the game, it plays pretty much like any other puzzle/adventure game like Myst or any of the old LucasArts games. You have an inventory where everything you pick up and find is stored, so you can find it later. You can combine items. You run into puzzles that require you to mix different chemicals to restore paintings. You need to use UV lamps to shine on different paintings, and you'll uncover ciphers and riddles that revolve around bunch of ancient symbols. You'll need to rearrange things, pretty much break encryptions for 15 hours. That's basically the game. But yeah, most of the puzzles in the game are actually pretty decent. Since the story does revolve around, symbology and arcane symbols and things, much of the puzzles, or many of the puzzles, don't feel out of context. It actually feels natural, I guess to say, to be tinkering around with very old symbols and deciphering puzzles and things like that. Some of the puzzles do get a little arcane. They do get a little complex, and some of them do feel out of context, but for the most part, a pretty decent puzzle game. None of them shine, however, and that's pretty much the game's biggest fault, is that none of the puzzles actually feel like they've been ingeniously designed. But apart from that, it's okay. The other half of the game revolves around third-person combat, and this is actually the section of the game where it just doesn't work. It drags the entire experience down. Basically, it's a cross between a third-person brawler and a minigame thing, like a rhythm minigame. So basically, you will fight a bunch of different enemies in the game, like monks and police officers, and you start every encounter with a punch. So again, like any third-person brawler, you punch them twice, and then the game then switches to a minigame style encounter where you'll need to hit the appropriate buttons according to what's happening at the bottom of the screen. So you'll need to hit a sequence of buttons to deliver, hits and kicks and throws and things like that. Unfortunately, it never really feels dynamic. It never gets very difficult. It's actually very easy, and you can't help but feel that the entire system's been based around one-on-one encounters, and the only problems that you'll end up fighting is several people at once. So you'll be in the middle of a fight sequence, and you'll be disrupted by another character, and you'll need to start over. And pretty much you can't take down a character without completing a sequence. So having it disrupted constantly bogs the entire experience, and it makes it feel very cumbersome, very just suffering from ill design. In terms of narrative, the game does a decent job of capturing the mystery and urgency of the book in the movie. Of course, it doesn't feel as cinematic as the movie, and it doesn't read as well as the book, but it does an okay job of making you feel like you're in the middle of a big mystery, like you're solving something. The game does have a few lulls where things get rather slow, but then that's just pretty much what happens with puzzle games when you get stuck, I suppose. But in terms of delivering a good story, it does. It takes the best parts of the novel and the movie and distills them into a pretty decent story for the video game. And that's basically it. The Da Vinci Code as a video game is, at best, mediocre. Simply because the puzzles are okay, but they never shine. The combat is simply bad. It feels like it doesn't work, and it feels like it gets in the way of the puzzle solving. It just feels like it shouldn't be there. It actually feels like developers put it in simply to appeal to a console audience when what they actually should have focused on was the puzzles and the adventure game aspects of it. But the story's still there, so if you really like the book and you really like the movie, then this will actually give you a dozen or so hours of puzzle solving and arcane religious goodness if that's your thing. So yeah, Da Vinci Code is basically reserved simply for die-hard, can't get enough of it Da Vinci fans that have seen the movie, read the book, and still want to keep at it. And that's basically it.